The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
And here we are.
Hello.
Good evening.
We were discussing before we came on some GTOV candidates that had we waited a couple days would have probably made the tournament.
Yeah, Gypsy Tank Thieves could have made it. That could have been a strong entry.
I like farmer tank thieves too. The tractors that are pulling the tanks.
Yeah,
those are kind of funny.
It happened again, by the way. There's been another one.
Numerous tanks being stolen by farmers and gypsies.
Like legitimately, because the Russians don't have any fuel, and so they just
bail.
They're just leaving the shit at the side of the road.
I mean, it is exceptional advertising for the tractor companies and manufacturers, you know, because it's like, look, we can pull a fucking tank.
John Deere's got to be loving this. And who's the other one? International Harvester, I think, is a tractor brand. And yeah, they're all digging it, man.
The other one I had, and granted, this might be a little bit inside baseball for, to people in the know on the CCSLC. Kremlin propagandist admiral could have been a good one.
Flavor of admiral there.
I don't normally frequent where he talks about that stuff, but I did go to his profile because you can do this. You can just look at just their posts and nothing else.
Yeah.
Man, I got to be honest. I mean, and I respect the hell out of the admiral. Like I told you guys in the text thread, if he says something that I don't agree with, I will literally go look at it again and go, all right, what am I missing here? And I got to say, I kind of get what he's going for, but I don't know that I could make a good defense of it. I'll put it that way.
To quote McCarthy, like at the end of the day, there's no big-brained defense for the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and I guess if you were of a certain, mindset, maybe you could talk yourself into something. But like at the end of the day, no, you can't do it. And I
think the NATO argument is a very weak one, because if you're going to use that defense and say, well, look, they don't want NATO on their doorstep. And again, I'm no geography expert, but don't they already have a couple of countries that are NATO members that are literally bordering?
NATO's been on their doorstep since NATO began, because Norway is a NATO member, and Norway has a maritime border with Russia.
That's my thing too. It's like, I mean, if he were coming at it, anybody were coming at it from the position of, hey, we didn't like it when the Soviet Union put missiles in Cuba, I'd say, oh yeah, okay, that's a fair argument. But if you make that same argument going, you can put missiles in Key West and you can put missiles off the coast of California, but you can't put them in Cuba, I go, yeah, your argument kind of falls apart at that point.
And I mean, and then at the end of the day, there is like the sovereignty question, which is to say that, one of the reasons why Russia's doing this now is because the president of Ukraine had stated that he intended to submit an application to NATO by 2024. And the reason that he did that is because if you look at the polling, the vast majority of Ukrainians, something like over 70% of Ukrainians, want Ukraine in NATO. And the reason they want Ukraine in NATO is they want some assurances against exactly what is happening now,
right.
A Russian invasion. And so, like at like a certain point, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm sure Russia maybe doesn't want NATO right up in their business, but at the same time, maybe if Russia didn't drunkenly threaten their neighbors every couple of decades, their neighbors wouldn't feel compelled to join NATO. Yeah. So,
anyway, yeah, that's I just to wrap it up, because I don't want us to become just an extension of every other talking head show in the universe. I mean, we could go on about this, but to get back to the Admiral, like I said, I really respect him. And there have been numerous times over the years on those boards where I will have a position on something. He will go, here's why you're wrong. And I go, out of respect for you, I will check this out. And I just couldn't get there with this one. So if Admiral, if by chance you're listening, I apologize, but I can't get there, man. I'm sorry. I tried. I really did, but I just don't understand it.
It's and this, to bring us on back around is why Kremlin propagandist Admiral, I think, would have made a decent GOTV entry.
We're talking about GTOV entries. Super 70 Sports tweeted this thing yesterday. It was Danny Trejo driving a convertible with shirtless Danny Trejo in the back seat. And I was like, that's a GTOV entry if there ever was one. It was you had to see it to really get it. And you can see it on our at Basically Sports on the Twitter feed because I retweeted it. But yeah, that would have been a strong entry too.
That would have been, but again, the one that I'm really lamenting the loss of, right, is Gypsy Tank Thieves, because I really feel that could have been something special.
That one was like tailor made for GTOV,
right?
And it's probably not even going to be topical this time next year. So
I hope not.
Yeah, hopefully this situation is resolved in the best way possible this time next year. Either that, or we're all going to be dead from the nuclear holocaust. But oh god, that would have been perfect. Gypsy Tank Thieves could.
Threat of nuclear war would have been a good one too, because
that would have done it. But to just wrap up the Russia-Ukraine thing. Zach, who couldn't be with us here tonight, he's vacationing in Disney World. He kind of said it best in our group text chat, which is that just due to Russia's really poor bumbling of this whole thing, like this war, more and more, at least from the Russian perspective, looks more and more like a Borat movie with like each passing day. And
yeah, but
we're at the point where literal gypsies are stealing Russian tanks.
I'm with you on that, but there's also this little part of me that goes, is this Russia overplaying its hand, or is this like when my cat catches a mouse and he fucks with it and he kind of bats it around and the mouse thinks like, I got a shot here, and then the cat goes, nah, fuck no, you don't.
I don't
know. I don't know because I don't know, but I worry about that because it just seems to me that, and again, we could have grossly overestimated Russians' military capacity. I'll be the first to admit that. But if we didn't, what if he's just fucking around right now and he goes, you know what? I've had enough of this. I mean, I don't know. Is that possible? I guess is what I'm asking.
By all accounts, Putin expected this to be a very quick war.
I've heard that before.
He expected, he expected things to be over by now. By from what I understand, things have not gone according to plan, and so I don't think he's just fucking with Ukraine because like legitimately, like the situation is deteriorating, for Russia politically because it's been such a hard go of it. So
you've got Gypsy stealing your tanks. It's not.
You've got to mention what I mentioned to Andy before we started this. I legitimately think we're at a point where we all, like, not just Ukraine, not just the West, maybe the West, like we as a cultural bloc, as a geopolitical bloc, the West have, spent decades upon decades of tailoring geopolitical policy to the notion that that Russia is to be feared, and I guess because of their nuclear arsenal, that's still technically valid, but it's become clear, I think, in this that no, like, if it ever came down to a conventional war between NATO and Russia, like, Russia would get curb stomped because
I was going to say, did we learn nothing from when the Soviet Union fell and we saw that it was basically the same idea? Mm-hmm. Well, they got a lot of nuclear stuff, but that's about it. You know, we were really worried because they would have those big marches on May Day, through the Kremlin or in front of the Kremlin and all that. And you're like, oh my God, look at these guys. But it's kind of like you roll out, 6 good starters on a football team and they march well together, and then you find out they can't play for shit. And that's kind of what we found out.
It's this. Well, when the Soviet Union fell and the CIA actually got into Russia and started going through like what previously classified documents that they never could get their hands on before, they were like, holy shit, we vastly overestimated, the situation. And I mean, the thing about it is, like, Russia's going into this war in the year of our Lord 2022, rolling with equipment and tanks, and it's even one of Andy's GTOV entries, like, legitimately from 1979. Like, they're using Soviet crap because, like, Russia has developed some modern weaponry. They've developed modern jet fighters, modern bombs, but because and this is even before the sanctions, Russia's economy was in such a slipshod shape that they couldn't afford to build them in significant numbers. Like, Russia's Russia's MREs, the rations that you would give to soldiers.
Oh yeah, they're really, really old.
They expired in 2015.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, those things are supposed to last for 30 years. So we're talking about MREs that were probably made when the Soviet Union was still like a thing.
Yeah, but another thing about those MREs, I think they're kind of like Twinkies. Do they really expire? I mean,
here's the thing. So there used to be a YouTube channel dedicated entirely to somebody who would acquire unopened MREs from around the world.
God bless the internet.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's still around or not, but I watched him eat like World War II MREs and stuff. And I mean, yeah, it was 50 plus years since they were made, but like, I don't think he like instantly vomited. He didn't feel good afterward, but I mean, the Russia stuff it's a giant mockery. But I personally have been affected by this.
Really?
There's a Russian gentleman at my work, and he came by to sign some stuff, and he stole my pen.
Well, that son of a bitch.
I felt, like, where's the justice?
He's demanding NATO intervention on this. He wants Article 5 invoked, and
we need to find a better representative. We need to find a better way to name it, but I think Russian guy that stole Andy's pen's a strong GTOV entry too.
Oh, absolutely.
There was, I just read today also, and I'm gonna hopefully be able to sneak this guy in next year, should he come back. But there's apparently in the Somerset of the United Kingdom, there's been a recurring I don't want to call him, he's not a vigilante, he's just a weirdo. There's a guy called the Somerset Gimp, and he goes around. Some guy in Somerset. He wears a full body black latex suit with like the gimp eyes and mouth.
Oh my god!
And he just kind of walks around being creepy and weird. And he takes time off and then comes back, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, Somerset Gimp, he's back!"
So
again.
Do they know who he is, or does he just?
I imagine it's just some local guy who walks around the neighborhood.
Because that's the thing, like, if he never takes his mask off, and if the authorities like never stop him, like he could keep that going for a while.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to kind of keep an eye out for it in the news.
Yes, somebody needs to put that. And I don't know if it's too early to start the 2023 list, but if we should start it, because that's a great entry. The Somerset.
Well, yeah, especially if he's still kicking around, if he's still doing it. Like, yeah,
I'll throw it in the Discord. But yeah, I'm the whole deal with the Russia stuff. It's a lot of it's just gonna be recycled thoughts week to week because a lot of stuff's not going to change. We're just watching these embarrassments for Russia, but it's hard. I mean, you got to laugh a little bit because it is pretty fucking horrible what's going on.
When you break it down and you think, well, how could this go off the rails and where could it go, and then it gets real quick. And you go, okay, it's cute watching gypsies steal tanks and all that. I always go back to the idea that no matter what he does, Putin still, maybe he doesn't, and that would be a real blessing, but he still has the ability to push that button. And I don't know. I can't. I 90% of me says he wouldn't, but even 10% is too much.
Well, the and I know this is all just going to be like speculation and whatnot, but like the hope is like you've got a lot of fucking very rich and powerful people in
Right.
Russia right now who are going to be suffering some financial hardships, for lack of a better term, because of all of this shit. And if they, and you've got to hope at a certain point that, you know, these mega rich Russian assholes who want access to their Western bank accounts again, who want access to their fucking yachts again, like, just go like, Vladimir, enough. Like,
I think that's what we all hope for, is that eventually cooler heads and saner heads will prevail over there, and that's what will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I think we've learned over the years, you don't mess with the Russian mob. Just don't. And that's what these oligarchs are. I mean, let's be honest about it.
Yeah.
We're not talking. I mean, this is like, you know, that was, I think, the biggest takeaway from the fall of the Soviet Union was the growth of the Russian mafia. You know, it's a real force to be reckoned with over there. I think most people would agree, but you just hope that, I don't know. Like I said, I think the first week we talked about this, the one thing I never wanted to see come back as a retro thing was nuclear war, but here we are.
I mean, look, and granted, just to make it clear, I am kidding when I say this, but you know, the yucks are, I guess, too hard to resist. Given the performance of the Russian military so far, are we even sure those nukes have the fuel to be launched at this point? Because there might be a point where, like, old Vladimir just loses his shit and he's like, I'm taking the whole world down, and he pushes the button and like it's just
that sputters and
my
it would like sputter and blow up right next to that bunker he's hiding in. That would be perfect.
Like it's like yeah, well, okay, Putin launched the nukes and he nuked himself.
I sort of envision him being like, yes, press the button, and so they do something, pull a switch, and then what happens is like a phone call goes to a landline to somewhere in Siberia where they're all like buried in like snow buried dumpsters, and it's like, oh shit, we have to prepare the warheads, and they open the dumpsters up, and they're just all, it's like corroded batteries, they're all leaky and shitty.
It's like,
oh fuck,
and it's like when were we supposed to refurbish this? It's like it's like fucking some like Soviet bloc era tag that says like, it's like maintenance scheduled 1995, and it's like,
these systems are not Y2K ready, you know. Like, yeah, and they open them up, and Putin's like, check the warranty.
You get a notice it doesn't have the proper drivers, and they have to download a bunch of shit just to get it to go.
Yeah, they have one computer running like Millennium Edition Windows that like maybe will work.
No. Windows 95, just because.
That's too reliable.
No.
Yeah,
Windows
right.
was too functional. You got to go ME. Yeah. Windows ME is the pure crapshoot.
You know, Windows ME is what made me into a Mac person. That thing was fucked.
I remember my school went to ME. Like, that shit was terrible.
No, thank you.
Yeah, so anyway.
I'm trying to use Windows ME. That's a GTOV entry.
Yeah, right.
It's a bold move. Well, Greg, you sounded really defeated coming into this tonight. You didn't seem like you were terribly pleased, I guess, with the results of round one of the glorious tournament.
I'm not displeased. I was hoping for a little more
drama.
Yeah, and there really, I mean, there wasn't any. And I would say that it was all favorites, but that's not even true. What the fuck did I just do there? It's not that. It's just not a lot of close matches. I mean, I think there might be a couple that you guys would consider upsets, but there was no drama, no first round drama like we usually get. Everything was pretty cut and dry by the time I closed.
Always remember when Jupiter got knocked out in round one.
Right, and there was nothing like that. I'm not spoiling anything by saying all 4 number 1 seeds will advance. So you guys just want to get into it now and do the
let's do it to it.
All right, here we go. We'll start with Mike's region, the Sentinel Prime Memorial Region of Excellence, and we'll analyze the results here. Fucking death. Come on, let's go here. Oh Jesus, really? There we go.
I don't hear any gongs or anything, so
no, I'm gonna add that later.
Oh, okay.
Too many.
Too much
Anyone
stuff.
listening live, fuck you. You don't get the stuff.
He said it this time, not me. This one was actually closer than I thought it would be, but it really wasn't. It was number 1 seed Ukrainian Sunflower Grandma versus Bengals quarterback legend Ken Anderson.
Well, look, Look, Sunflower Grandma is a badass of badasses, and not to take anything away from her, but I am not shocked that maybe, Ken Anderson put up a fight. He is the GOAT, so...
I think if you had put Ken Anderson up against almost anyone else in your bracket, he probably advances, but that just going up against that number 1 seed was way too much for him.
Also, in fairness, like I said, the invasion of Ukraine occurred after I had already made my ballot, and I felt I needed to put Sunflower Grandma in there, the 1 seed, which bumped everything down.
Yeah.
So originally, Ken Anderson was not scheduled to face Sunflower Grandma, but that's just how it went.
Well, anyway, final score in that one was 18-10. Sunflower Grandma takes the easy win.
Well done.
And Ken Anderson, like always, gets screwed in the end, and it'll be forgotten in history.
That's fine.
One of these days, we're gonna have the great Ken Anderson Hall of Fame debate. Like, we're just gonna.
There are so many ways to attack that. If you go from stats and use compare to other quarterbacks, you go, yeah. Then I don't know. Anyway, up next, number 4, Snorfx Pokemon Go LA police officers. I believe it doesn't have the whole name here. Oh wait, yeah, it does.
Yeah. These are the police officers who, instead of reporting to stop a robbery, stopped to try to capture a Snorlax in Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I know that. It's hilarious for all the wrong reasons, but it's.
And the funny thing is that, again, we talked about this when we first mentioned it. If you read the transcript, it sounds like it could be them going after a robber. It's like, come on, get him! You almost got him!
I didn't know Pokemon was still going out and capturing them out in the wild was still a thing like that.
It was a thing that was hot for like a hot minute,
yeah.
And then it obviously it people got their fill and moved on. But no, it's still going. Like you can still download the app and do it. It's just not a huge thing. But it's shocking that of all this happened over the past calendar year. This was a recent thing that some LAPD officers were just like, yeah, fuck it, we're gonna completely ignore our sworn duties to capture a Snorlax.
And they're taking on number 5 seed Saskatoon School Moose, who I think has Legend of Cocaine Bear potential in this year's tournament.
Well, look, the Canadian, the oddball Canadian conference is always has a strong showing. Last year, Thunder Bay Ram had a pretty decent run. And so you've also got rural Manitoba beer store thief goalie.
That one was.
You can never really count out these oddball Canadian entries. So I'm really
let's not forget 12-foot Davis from last year.
12-foot Davis, yeah,
right,
yeah. You can never really count these guys out, and so I'm very curious to see how Saskatoon School Moose held up.
Saskatoon School Moose made quick work of the LAPD officers. Quick work, 21-7 the final. Never close. Like I said, this Moose I think has, like the Legend of Cocaine Bear last year, our ultimate champion, was a number 5 seed and kind of just quietly worked his way through the tournament until all of a sudden he was in the championship match. I could see the Moose doing the same thing.
Well, the thing you have to keep in mind for the Moose is that he clearly has a passion for learning, and that's not something to underestimate.
Unlike the LAPD officers.
Oh yeah, no.
The Moose would have made quick work of them in real life, just like he did in the tournament. So,
what happened is the police officers would have been called in to deal with the Moose, and they just would have played Pokemon Go instead. So
I tell you, a Moose is a foul-tempered beast for sure.
Indeed. Yeah.
This was a close one, actually. The next one, number 3, Ram Ranch Anthem of the Anti-Convoy Resistance versus Deep Hurting Smashville. You guys want to make any predictions?
I'm rooting for Deep Hurting here.
I feel like deep hurting really gets to the root of who we are, because like we all, and I know we have listeners who aren't from the CCSOC, and I don't want to alienate you folks, but like we as a podcast kind of got our start on the CCSLC, and so like the uniform stuff, the logo stuff, always kind of speaks to, I guess, our roots,
our core audience,
core audience, our roots, and like. And so part of me just loves Deep Hurting Smashville, because goddamn, I have never seen such an ugly piece of shit rolled out into an NHL game.
It is one bad jersey.
They should all feel terrible about this.
They really should. They should just sit in a corner and feel bad about themselves for a couple weeks. Yeah, this was, I guess you could call this an upset. Number 6 seed, Deep Hurting Smashville, takes out Ram Ranch Anthem of the Anti-Convoy Resistance 16-12 in this one.
Oh, wow.
A little closer than I thought it would be, but the jersey moves on. And finally, one of my favorite entries, number 2 seed, Ricky LaFleur, Arizona Coyotes landlord. The Chargers Plasma Ball.
I got to go with the Plasma Ball here. This has got to be a Plasma Ball victory. Come on.
I don't know. I got a Ricky LaFleur, by being, from Trailer Park Boys. That's that has that weird Canadian pedigree, and so.
And I'm going to say, I've said it, I think, off the air numerous times. I'm going to say it on the air. I like Trailer Park Boys better than Seinfeld, and fuck you if you don't like it. I'm just saying, I think it's funnier.
That's
it holds up a whole lot better. I mean, come on, Ricky and Julian and Mr. Lady.
I'm a proud Canadian. Trailer Park Boys is my cultural heritage. I don't know if I'd go that far. Here's the thing.
I didn't say it's better. I said I like it better.
I'm not. Here's the thing. I won't say I won't agree with you, but I also can't say you're wrong.
I mean, you've got a show where they kidnapped Alex Lyson from Rush. Sebastian Bach from Skid Row shows up in an episode.
Yes.
If you've never seen Trailer Park Boys, I don't know what to tell you, but if you haven't, I think it's still on Netflix. You should. Oh my God, it's just the best thing ever. But anyway, Ricky LaFleur, no trouble at all with the Charger Plasma Ball.
Oh man.
21-7, not even.
I mean, I appreciate Chargers Plasma Ball for just the epitome of what a joke that team is in that stadium in that city. But like Ricky LaFleur, Coyotes landlord, I think perfectly encapsulates the shit show that is that arena situation. Because we could move the team to a place like Quebec City where they'll sell out an NHL-sized arena every night, or we can do what the NHL has opted, and they can play in front of sub-ECHL-sized crowds. That's also good, I guess.
Or they can go to Sunnyvale and play in Ricky's trailer.
And Ricky's trailer, or I guess always still on the table, they could just flat out still steal land from the Indians. That's always a possibility.
I wanted to, speaking of entries that didn't make it this year, I wanted the Coyotes stealing land from the Indians to be an entry, but I couldn't figure out a way to phrase it where it wasn't like a parody.
Phil Kessel land claim.
Right. All right, so anyway, the matchups for round 2 in the Central Prime Region Memorial Region of Excellence will be number 1. Oh, this is going to be a tough match. Ukrainian Sunflower Grandma taking on Saskatoon School Moose. Right? Oh boy, that's a big one. Right into the second round we go, huh?
That's kind of like a bracket decider. Like I think that the Moose is a hell of a test. I mean, if the Sunflower Seed Grandma like pulls this one off, it's an easy low downhill ski, for the rest of the way.
She'll cruise right to the Final Four.
Indeed.
Though, the audience, for as much fun as I make of them, they do love the animals in this thing. So I'm not going to rule out the Moose, even though that's a real tough draw for him there.
Right. Yeah. You can never count on animals. Like typically I lean towards inanimate objects myself, but that doesn't seem to be the case for a lot of the voters. But if it's got the animal, it's a tough sell.
Again, like for my bracket last year, Thunder Bay Ram made a run that I was surprised by. So you really can't count the critters out.
Yeah, I mean, Cocaine Bear, I don't even know how he did it, because I he was like a 5 seed, and he just kept knocking people off, and I still can't believe
Well, it's a good thing that he did, because I don't think I could live in a world where the winner was Walmart turkey fucker.
it. Was that in last year's tournament? Or was
Yes,
that
I think he beat him in the. I think Cocaine Bear won in the finals in that one, didn't he?
He may have. I don't remember if it was in the ignominious tournament of disgrace, or the Walmart turkey fucker was GTOV, right?
I
I
believe
think
he
it was
won.
GTOV. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the second matchup in Mike's region will be Saskatoon. Or no, wait a minute, I'm wrong. Deep Hurting Smashville taking on number 2 seed Ricky LaFleur, Arizona Coyotes landlord. So a couple of strong matchups, right? Going into the second round here.
I'm not upset with any of those. Yeah, I feel like that's the cream is rising to the top here for my conference. Yes.
All right, let's move on to what's next here. The Zach's region, the goddamn Batman Memorial region.
Good movie, by the way. New Batman movie.
Yeah, you and Zach both seem to really like it.
Yeah, it was good. They did a good job.
All right.
They did good.
Number 1 seed Born Again Thanos taking on number 8 seed Jaws Dog.
I understand I'm in the minority. I understand I'm going to lose on this one. I get it. I respect the will of the voters, but Jaws Dog all the way for me. Jaws Dog till I die.
I'm going to go ahead and speculate that Jaws Dog got like 2 votes.
Did a little better than that, but not much. Born Again Thanos is going to be tough to beat. 20-8, the final in that one.
Okay.
Born Again Thanos, number 1 seed, moves on to the second round.
I tried Jaws Dog. I tried.
This one surprised me actually. Number 4 seed Pizza Dough Dumpster Blob versus number 5 seed Gas Sock.
I think my I would be leaning towards the Blob just out of scale. But I mean, I could see why people would vote for the Sock, I guess.
I thought it wasn't close. I thought it would be closer, but it wasn't. And
I think Gas Sock is more visceral to me. That's why that was my personal choice. But
mine too.
I think Pizza Blob might have won it.
Pizza Blob with an easy win, 20-8, moves on. And
Come on, people, Jesus!
Taking on Born Again Thanos.
Oh God!
At some point, the humanity of Thanos will be put to the test. Because I mean, like Born Again Thanos can probably easily get rid of a pizza blob, but if he ever has to destroy like a living thing.
Well, that'll be the thing, right? Because like Thanos is, Thanos has the power of the Infinity Gauntlet behind him. But if he's born again, if he's a born again Thanos, then he should have sworn off violence and genocide.
I mean, he gave the Infinity Gauntlet to Jesus.
Right, he did.
So,
yes,
he's yielded that power.
But don't you think though? Doesn't that raise the question? Why wouldn't Jesus have had it in the first place? I hate to get philosophical here, but really,
dear Marvel, please work Jesus into the MCU to explain why he did not stop Thanos.
Right. All right. Anyway, moving on. Number 3 seed Therm Scissor Punch taking on number 6 seed Golf Course Goose Guardian.
I went with Scissor Punch just because I like goofy Star Wars shit. So.
Yeah, I think the voters will probably lean towards the goofy name only ever slightly over the goose. But again, animal contestants, people have a soft spot for them, and universally, geese are fucking despised too. So, what is? Did the people make this a close match, or
no? It wasn't close at all. Which another one that surprised me. I thought this one and Pizza Dough Dumpster Blob and Gas Sock would be close, and neither were. The Goose moves on 19-9. Pretty easy win over Therm Scissor Punch. I think Therm Scissor Punch, it was kind of was he in
it's a
Mandalorian?
Han Solo,
Boba Fett?
Okay, he was in the Han Solo movie, I think, the recent one that very few people saw, I guess.
Which is unfair to it. It's like
it's all right. It's okay.
It's a fine movie. Like it just happened to come out when everyone got mad at Star Wars.
Yeah.
And finally, go ahead, Andy.
No, I was just saying I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that result.
And finally, number 2 seed Florida Man Trash Can Gator Wrangler versus the one true Josh?
I gotta go with Florida trash can Gator Wrangler. Like, look, Josh is. I don't care what Josh we're talking about. Josh can get fucked. He's not interesting. I don't care about Josh. I hope he feels bad. So
I think the only people that would have voted for Josh are people named Josh.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna speculate it was like, I don't know, 25-3 or something.
It was 18-10.
Oh,
Florida
wow.
trash can Gator Wrangler, Florida man.
Fairly-
I gotta
fairly
say,
close.
if you have not seen the video of this, what this guy does with this gator in Florida, I don't know who the toughest dude in the world is, but this guy's got to be in the conversation. I know that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
He takes a gator by the tail and basically pulls that fucker into a garbage can and puts the lid over top of it. Me, I would have been running in the other direction. I would have been like, there is no way I'm doing
I don't want anything to do with an alligator. Like,
No.
Just
No.
No.
All right, so the matchups in round 2 for the goddamn Batman Memorial region will be Born Again Thanos taking on Pizza Dough Dumpster Blob, and Golf Course Goose Guardian taking on the Florida Man Trash Can Gator Wrangler. It's going to be interesting too. Got quite the second round shaping up here, guys.
Indeed.
All right, my region is up next, the Rip from the Headlines region, as we wait for my slow-ass old computer. I'm on my laptop for the show, and I'm using this for the other stuff. Number 1 seed, the Ghost of Kiev, or Kiev, depending on which way you want to go with it, taking on number 8 seed, Brian Kelly's sudden Southern accent.
Yeah, I would imagine that the Ghost of Kiev won, but you can never underestimate whether people hate voted for Brian Kelly, or they just want it for the
I want
meme.
to say that win or lose, I'm just honored to have been in this illustrious tournament. I'm Brian Kelly, and I have always talked like this.
Brian Kelly, a Canadian, just did a better Southern accent than you did. asshole. What do you
Look,
think?
everyone, I'm drinking a sweet tea.
I'm having a sweet tea, and I'm going to go to the Waffle House later, and fuck off. Take a drink,
Howdy
boys.
doody.
Anyway, it wasn't even close. Goes to Kiev, 22-8, which is or
Good.
22-6. Excuse me, a little closer than I thought it would be, but a couple of hate votes there for Brian Kelly's Southern accent.
That's fine.
Number 4 seed, Bishop Sycamore, not really a high school, taking on Butthole Tanning.
I
What
personally
a tournament, huh?
I want Bishop Sycamore to go at least to another round. I mean, I feel like the farther they go,
they fucking deserve it after
Yeah.
after the fucking clown show that was.
I mean, the more people that are aware of Bishop Sycamore's story, the better. Like, it is a phenomenon that should be documented to the utmost limits.
Like, this shit got on ESPN.
Yeah.
Like,
one of the great con jobs of modern sports broadcasting, for sure.
For sure, yeah. Well, anyway, Bishop Sycamore making quick work of Butthole Tanning. Thank the good Lord for that. 19-9 the final in that one. Bishop Sycamore moves on to take on number 1 seed, the Ghost of Kiev. That's gonna be a hell of a matchup there, because I know our listeners, and they, the Ghost of Kiev's kind of like fallen off the radar a little bit in the last week or so. So if that continues, and with the Gypsy Tank Thieves and stuff, kind of stealing his thunder, I could see Bishop Sycamore pulling the upset in that one.
just again, imagine you've been conscripted into the Russian army, and you've been tasked with invading Ukraine, and it's not just Ukrainian soldiers you have to contend with. You're also being hunted by gypsies.
Oh, not only that, but you're being made fun of in a tournament on a podcast. Imagine
Yes.
that for morale, right?
Well, the best thing I heard was, how do you lose a tank to a gypsy? Shouldn't you have access to some sort of weapon, some vehicle-mounted weapon?
Number 3 seed, Nancy Reagan Throat Goat, who I fear is going to be a favorite in this tournament, versus Andy's sad sim characters.
I mean, my sim characters deserve 0 votes. They're just pathetic. Much less going against one of the great.
The Throat Goat.
Just not only just it's a wonderful combination of history and the
Owning some idiots online. Yeah.
Yes, but also just adding some humanity to these people who people who history wants to paint, represent as these like virtuous, clean people. And it's like, no. She was just really, really good at going down on numerous men in Hollywood. Like,
yeah, I think this thing is going to make a long run, but I'm almost regretting I put her in here. But yeah, Nancy Reagan. No problem at all with Andy Sad Sim characters. 23-5.
Look, as much as Nancy Reagan Throat Goat was born out of a desire to own some people online, to and I guess to make Greg feel better about including her and unleashing her upon the voters. Andy's right. Like, we're all just human, and even the people among us who are famous and held up as role models, like, again, we're all human. We all have human impulses and needs, and you know what? So Nancy Reagan gave great head. So what? It's nothing to be ashamed about.
Good for her.
Good for her.
With that face, she had to do something. I'll just say.
I am trying to do something nice for Nancy Reagan, and
she was not.
Greg's like, yeah, she was an ugly bitch. Good thing she could find.
I will say this, okay? I'm not saying she was ugly, but I'm saying she had. How can we put this? Non-traditional good looks. How does that sound? She was, for a woman, she was ruggedly handsome.
I tried, Nancy. I really did.
All right, finally, number 2 seed Florida Chimp taking on number 7 seed Jehovah Witness Swap Meet. The Chimp Conference, number 2 seed. Closer than I thought it would be. I will say that.
The Chimp. I mean, come on, it's the GTOV. Chimp's got to go at least a round. I don't think we've had. Have we ever had a Chimp lose in the first round?
I think we did either last year or the year before, because the Chimp entry was really weak that year. I don't remember what it was, but he went out in the first round. But yeah, other than that, no, they're usually at least make the Elite Eight, if not the Final Four, every year.
There's a standard of excellence there that I feel like needs to be met. And
despite what that character Sea Dragon on the boards likes to say, the Chimp Conference is one of the premier conferences in GTOV history. So, and keep making fun of them. I'm going to keep posting gifs of smoking chimps. So get used to it.
I love those.
Florida Chimp, pretty easy win, 18-10. And another
entry that could have made the list if we had just held off for like a week was Florida vending machines, by the way.
Right,
Florida, Zach sending us a picture of a vending machine from Orlando, and
what the hell? I'm not sure I want to know, but was it like selling weed, or was that food, or what the fuck was that?
Some kind of food.
I don't think they could sell.
They can sell weed out of the vending machine.
No, because the only weed that's legal in Florida is for medical purposes, so they can't just sell it.
I'm guessing it was some sort of munchies or like something shaped like weed leaves. That's like a potato chip or something.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't really tell.
Makes you kind of wonder where Zach's hanging out down there, though, doesn't it?
Zach, you're supposed to go to Disney World. Wholesome.
I don't.
He's doing Universal Studios first, so I wouldn't be surprised.
The Universal Studios got a bit of edge to it. I can see that.
Okay, because I was going to say I can't see that vending machine being on the property at Disney, but I'd never been there, so I don't know. Maybe it is.
I remember once when I was a kid, we went down to do the theme park thing in Orlando. We went to Universal Studios one day, and we sat in. It was like a movie special effects show. And the guy asked for some volunteers in the crowd. So this guy from the crowd comes up, and the guy running the show goes, "Now keep in mind, this isn't Disney. We don't have to pretend to be nice to you." So Universal's got some edge. So I could see that on Universal's property, but not Disney.
And then I saw it, and I thought, I'm going to all the wrong places in Florida because I've never seen anything like this. Anyway, so matchups for round 2 out of my region will be the Ghost of Kiev taking on Bishop Sycamore out of high school, and Nancy Reagan Throat Goat, God help me, God forgive me, taking on number 2 seed Florida Chimp. That's going to be a brutal match right there. You know what, they're gonna fuck me and vote Nancy Reagan past the Chimp. Just wait and see. Just wait.
Nancy Reagan Throat Goat might win this whole thing.
I know. It'll be like the one time I win and go, God, I kind of wish I hadn't. All right. So
Okay, listeners, if you really want to hear Greg lose it on air, you know what to do.
right. Oh, Zach is in the chat here. Let's see what he has to say.
Oh,
Vibrating panties.
Yeah, there was vibrating panties. Florida man has his own line of something down there. It was in a bag.
it was
Bag of dicks was pretty funny, I thought.
It was a regular, or it was just a regular vending machine in Orlando at Sloppy Taco Palace.
Jesus
Well,
Christ, really?
okay. That's the kind of thing I guess I expect from Sloppy Taco Palace.
I feel like again, this is a place that, and I'm assuming there's just dozens, if not hundreds, of these throughout Florida, where it's like we'll just call it something that'll get posted on Twitter. Like here's a slop. We'll call it like John's taco restaurant. And they're like, no, man, call it Sloppy Taco Palace, man.
Right.
That'll get some fucking lulls and shares and shit.
I mean, that was the rationale behind naming a wrestling company TNA.
Oh my god! All right.
Yeah.
Well, Zach,
It's called Vince Russo marketing.
He's I don't know how long he's doing Universal stuff for, but I'm looking forward to seeing his post from Disney. So
I think Florida Man Spirit Guide has some potential for next year too. And Matt, the bag of stuff with the actual Spirit Guide of Florida Man.
Oh no, I know exactly what Florida Man Spirit Guide is. It's a racist alligator toting an AR-15.
Well, have you ever seen? There's a movie about. What's the name of the guy who played died in plane crash? The song "The Day the Music Died" was written about him.
Buddy Holly.
Other musician.
Richie Valens and
Richie Valens. Yes,
Richie Valens. Yeah.
There's La Bamba. It's a movie about Richie Valens. You ever see that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so anyway, there's a scene where Richie Valens and his ne'er-do-well brother go to the desert and meet with an old Mexican guy. And he's like, put this necklace on Mexico. And I feel like that for Florida Spirit Guide would be similar, but it'd be like this shitty trailer out in the Florida swamps where like some white trash guy.
Everglades. It's in the Everglades.
Yeah, Everglades. And he's got like an alligator head on his head.
And
like
a Dale Earnhardt Jr. t-shirt that he has to wear.
Right, and just hands you a necklace with beer cans, and there's
a meth spoon involved, obviously.
Meth spoon, of course.
For Florida Man Spirit Guide has to be in the tournament next year because we're already it's going to be gold already. Moving on to Andy's region, Peanut Butter is Good region, Jackson Mahomes and Brittany Matthew launcher, the rocket launcher, which means the only way this happens is if this wins the tournament. So keep that in mind when you vote. Taking on one of my favorites. Space Matt Damon Shilling Jizz Coin.
So I'm guessing that next there will be
Virgin favors the brave.
There's gonna be a bylaw put in for like no conditional entrance next year or going forward.
Well, that's Andy. If that happens, you're doing it the right way. That's how you take advantage of the shit. You get in before the need for the bylaw, and then it gets passed. But you've already got yours, so what the fuck? You don't care.
Well, the launcher, the Mahomes launcher, is difficult because the timeliness of it is sort of faded. Like the Ukrainian stuff is happening. Football season's over.
You can't count out the possibility that they're going to do something stupid.
True. Very true.
Did you see that he was complaining? He said that the media is ruining his life.
Yeah, I mean,
all the covers are getting, dude. You know what?
Or you could just stop being a dickbag and then,
the media doesn't come to you just because they go, well, let's just pick these two random people over here. They look, no, that's not how this shit happens. You have to do stupid shit to get them to cover you. So maybe don't blame the media for your own shortcomings. Anyway, it was a closer match than I thought it would be, but Jackson Mahomes and Brittany Matthew launcher will move on to the next round, taking out poor Space Matt Damon Shilling Jizz Coin, 16-10. Closer than I thought.
Favors the brave.
Yeah,
Up next. Oh, go ahead.
No, I say Matt Damon he'll find a way around it. He'll don't worry about him.
Up next, Hanks, plural, the Tanks Obese Bear Trio, which this is like the most amazing thing ever to me. The more I hear about it, I go, how in the world? It's almost like they're working in concert, these three. Taking on, what is it, Paul Gasari? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Paul Gasari, yeah.
Yeah, North Korean Godzilla.
I mean,
The North Korean Godzilla again.
They won the tournament
Forced
over
at
there.
gunpoint. Kidnapped Japanese filmmaker, forced at gunpoint to make it.
I shouldn't
Like-
say that. He's kind of this North Korean Godzilla came in second in the GTOV in North Korea this year.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lost to glorious leader Kim Il Sung, but you
right.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, this not very close in this one. The Bears will move on 22-6.
damn. Yeah, I mean, I figured Pulgasari was more of a one and done. It wasn't like my favorite entrant. I kind of put it in there more because I found the story fascinating. But you know, the bear. First of all, it's an animal.
Yep.
Second of all, it's a really weird story. And I mean, considering the greatness of Cocaine Bear, it's only natural that these like lesser cousins kind of, you know, these disgusting, obese, this huge, just wretches who have haunted the California coast of their garbage for months now. You know, they get at least around. I don't know how far they'll go, but you know, they're fat. They may get tired.
What is it with these bears too that they just have to overindulge in everything? And like Cocaine Bear ate
Well-
what, like 15 kilos of coke?
Well, so bears and dogs are in the same. I think they're in the same
Right.
species, whatever. So like they're the kind of animal that will eat themselves to death. They don't have any restraint. They will founder themselves.
I mean, keep in mind also that, you know, bears are instinctively driven to eat a lot for hibernation.
Right.
Well,
So-
those three can hibernate for a couple years and be fine, I think.
Yeah. I don't think they're in too much
That's-
trouble.
That's the thing about cocaine. I mean, cocaine. And first of all, it's cocaine. So he ate a little bit of it and was like, "Fuck yeah! Like I'm gonna eat the rest of this right now." I can't wait for that movie to come out. By the way, I need to see a trailer or something. for
I
it.
want to see because I guess he lived like 10 to 15 minutes after he ate all of that, and I
Yeah.
want to see that version of that bear. I mean, the 15 minutes, it had to be the most badass thing that's ever existed for that 15 minutes.
I just don't know how they're gonna do it. Like I don't know how you make that story last an hour and a half or 2 hours. Like just flesh padded out with a bunch of this crap while the whole audience just waits and waits and waits. Like get to the fucking bear and the cocaine already.
Right.
It's
But
like when
we'll
it's
see.
like when you go see Titanic and you're all just waiting for the fucking iceberg to hit.
Yeah, praying for it at a certain point, I'd say even.
I, I think its goal is to be better than Snakes on a Plane, where you know it's a pretty low bar.
I paid money to see that in
And
theaters.
so did
man.
I. I'm ashamed.
Snakes on a plane, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Super shitty. Yeah.
All right. So up next, unexploded, unstable Russian ordnance taking on 1950s or lewd 1950s chimp pornographer.
Again, you got to keep in mind this ordinance is leaking. It's got CCCP stamps all over, and some poor 18-year-old Russian conscript has to load this shit into a likewise rickety launcher.
Yeah, it's got like duct tape all over it, and just kind of. I imagine the chimp pornographer just stole the day. Just not only because it's a chimp and it's a pornographer, but people hate Russia right now, so I imagine they're kind of downvoting anything in Russia.
Yeah, it was. This was the biggest win of the entire first round. Actually, lewd 1950s chimp pornographer just put the ass beating on the Russian ordnance, 24-4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, I think that the chimp pornographer, he can make a real deep run in this because it's a chimp, it's weird, and it just I don't know. We'll see.
I'm all for that. Good for you.
And he's
Luke.
gonna have an easy matchup in the next round, pretty much either way, because we've got epoxy sealed hot dog taking on Cowboy Ronald McDonald.
Well, as you
I
see,
voted for Cowboy Ronald McDonald. That's too good.
Too
good.
I think that the epoxy hot dog. I feel like I would hope it gets some respect because I mean.
This was the closest match of the first round, by the way.
Because I mean, the epoxy sealed hot dog needs to be, destroyed, and I mean that thing, you got to really want it. I don't think that Cowboy Ronald McDonald necessarily has the chutzpah to shatter the sealed resin hot dog.
I think what we had happen here was that people understood. I understood might be a strong way of putting it. They liked Ronald McDonald a little bit better.
Oh,
16-12. Cowboy Ronald McDonald moves on. Tell me this is a GTOV matchup if there ever was one. Lewd 1950s chimp pornographer taking on Cowboy Ronald McDonald.
Oh my god, Weird. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, but this is fucking weird. A weird matchup. For
You know, it's funny too because I mean I don't know about you guys, but I just kind of like, okay, I knew I want my number 1 seed to be, and then I just kind of randomly put them on after that. And this thing always seems to manage to find matchups that you just would have never thought of, and all of a sudden there they are in front of you. This tournament, it always does that. It's cool. And the other matchup will be number 1 seed Jackson Mahomes and Brittany Matthew rocket launcher taking on Hanks the Tanks, the obese Bear Trio.
Yeah,
Lots of good matches in the second round.
That matchup in particular really kind of will test the voters to basically say, like, do you want an animal to move on, or do you want to ensure the death of Patrick Mahomes and his Jackson Mahomes and his fiance? Like, make your choice. You know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It'll be fun. I'm hoping we have some a really interesting Final Four. Final Four, right?
No, we're going. This will go to weird. This will be the Sweet 16, isn't it? Yeah, because we went from 32 down to 16. Yeah, this will be the Sweet 16.
Oh, right. Okay.
No, that can't be right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so Sweet 16 is next. Correct.
Yeah.
So math.
Seems like there should be more than that or less than that. Anyway, yeah. Wait, 1, 2. No, never mind.
4 from each group. 4 times 4, 16. Yeah,
you're right. You got it. Yeah. Okay. Math, not my strong suit, folks.
Right.
If you're just learning that now, you haven't been listening long enough. So there you go. That'll be round 2 of the GTOV will be posted, and voting links and all that stuff will be. And now, because we don't have to pay for it, SurveyMonkey will let us post the entire bracket in one voting link, which makes things a lot easier. And we can just keep that pinned at the top of the Twitter feed and all that stuff. So that'll be cool.
Very good.
So there you go. That's the round 1 of the glorious tournament of victory.
Yeah. I mean, we remain in the kind of sports blah hell of early March. But
we did get some NFL news today.
Yeah, so go ahead and so he bet. If we're talking about
Calvin Ridley
of the
Ridley, excuse me, yeah.
He gambled. He suspended the whole year.
Yep.
Okay, so probably going to be just let go or something. I don't know. But he gambled on NFL games, and he says on Twitter, which is another brilliant idea from him, that he only gambled $1,500 and didn't exactly make a healthy profit off of this. But I don't know how to feel about it. I feel like it's a guy being stupid. He did something dumb, and the NFL's shellacking the shit out of him for it.
If he had done this in baseball, he'd be banned for life.
Sure.
A year's not so bad, really. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel like there's as much meat on the bone as you might speculate. It's embarrassing and it sucks, but I don't know. Why would the NFL be so? It feels very like.
I think it feels hypocritical. If you want.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if anything, that his punishment should be he has to do advertising for various gambling websites, FanDuel or whatever.
I mean, especially given you've got FanDuel, you've got DraftKings who sponsor the NFL. Not only sponsor, the NFL has like financial interests in them.
Yeah, and they, for the longest time, we won't let you broadcast the lines on games and all that. I don't know. It was last year, last year, whenever they leaned into it this year. It's like now the lines are there. You get the over-unders. You get all of it.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch it on the ticker. Like if you're watching, say, the Bears take on the Lions on Fox, you look at the ticker and down below, and it's like, okay, it'll be like Chiefs versus Chargers. Line, Chiefs -6.5. Over-under 35 or whatever. So I guess my question would be, why hasn't this happened more often? Because I can't imagine he's the only guy in this day and age that's placed a bet on football. It's just maybe he was the one that was dumb enough to get caught at it.
Yeah, just being sloppy, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
I'm not that bent out of shape about it. I know that people are like, "Oh my god," I don't give a fuck. I really don't.
Well, because the NFL salary cap went up by like $25 million for next year. So I mean, like the players are they're fine. They're going to get paid. The Aaron Rodgers is going to get paid like
$1 gazillion,
93%.
Any idea where he's going, or
he'll stay? He's every fucking week. I'm sorry, we've totally diverted from Calvin Ridley, but every other day or so, there's an update from Aaron Rodgers, various contract stuff on Twitter. He's not happy. He's not sure what's going on. He's not sure what he's going to do. It's all shades of gray. And then, there's all this other stuff that the Packers are going to give him a league altering contract.
Yeah.
Like, the Packers are already in cap hell. They're going to figure something out. But like, what are you doing if you're going to give Aaron Rodgers a contract that, like, I mean, I get it. What is he, back-to-back MVPs or something? But like, really, I hope they don't give him something that's one of those contracts that like every other young quarterback in the league will point to eventually and say, yeah, I want that.
Yeah.
I want the entire salary cap. You just give that.
But the thing about it, though, is like, presumably this whole thing ultimately boils down to the fact that Aaron Rodgers feels that, the Packers haven't done enough to win, right? Presumably, they keep losing in the playoffs. The fucking 49ers beat them again, right? And so, and last year they lost in the title game. Year before that, lost the title game. So, like, the narrative here is that Aaron Rodgers wants to win a Super Bowl. The question then is, how exactly are they expected to win a Super Bowl if they spend like the entire fucking cap on Aaron Rodgers? Because, and I know people get upset when this gets pointed out. People don't like it because, it's Tom Brady and and people get irrationally angry about it. But like, there's a reason why Tom Brady, played below what he, got paid below what he was worth. And it was because that he did that the teams he played for were able to afford talent that could then help his team, help them win a Super Bowl.
Well,
and
with Rodgers' contract, if he signs the deal they're offering him, it would actually free up some cap space for them. I think it was like $19 million. They're over by 29, I think. So it would basically knock it down to take off $19 million. I don't know. The cap stuff, I get confused easily, as you can imagine. But how many times are you going to bang your head against the wall before you realize that it's what's making your head hurt? And that's what I feel about with Aaron Rodgers. It's like, okay, yeah, he's a great player. No one will deny that. But how many more losses in the playoffs do you have to have before you go, maybe it might be time to try something else? Bring Jimmy Garoppolo over, let him play in the playoffs. He wins at least. I'm just saying.
That's careful. That argument kind of.
I know. But what I'm saying is that like he's had. Okay, what has he not had that he needed these last 3 seasons?
He needs basically a cupcake opponents to slay.
Other than that, what has he not had? Has he not had a good defense? Or defense was really good last year?
Wide receiver. No, he had pretty good wide receiver.
Every receiver in football, Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
he's just fine. And they traded for his old buddy in Randall Cobb.
Well, if we want to talk about what ultimately killed them in the playoffs, it was their special teams. God, that Packers special teams was. Yeah, but that was Chargers bad.
A legendary quarterback will win you those games.
Yeah,
like a truly great. Aaron Rodgers is a surefire Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about that. He's one of the greatest to ever play in the regular season. But you can't sit here and tell me that he means more to the Packers than anyone else. He could get a league defining historic contract from the Packers, but he's not getting that anywhere else. And to assume that the red carpet would be laid out for him anywhere else is a little bit premature. Because you're not going to get any trade value for him that's worth it. You're going to get something. You get probably a first in somewhere in that package to get it back. But do you really want to? Do you really want to shell out something for that kind of collateral for Aaron Rodgers to play for a year before he says something like, oh, well, I came here to franchise X and we went, 8-9 or whatever. And now it's not my fault. This isn't my fault. I don't have the pieces.
Or hell, if the way that he's going just starts insulting ethnic minorities, that could always happen.
He's too smart for that. But that would be.
Is he though?
Yeah, I think he is. He might do it after he retires. He won't do it while he's playing.
I imagine he'll one day write an autobiography that's mostly ghost written or goat written. Or it's just 300 plus pages of just blaming everyone else and throwing people under the bus.
I'm just going to go back to my same question. What did the Packers not have that some other team has that he needs?
Quarterback, a winning quarterback.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Okay, you got to get Aaron Jones and the other dude. I can't remember his name now. The running backs, both really good.
They're fine. Yeah, their running backs pretty good. Their offensive line is pretty good. I mean, there's no excuses. The main thing it comes back to is Aaron Rodgers refusing to look in the mirror and accept responsibility for any of his problems.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Okay, like Denver, there's a lot of talk he's going to go to Denver. Do you think Denver's like got better personnel other than at quarterback than Green Bay does? I mean,
that's the thing that I don't understand. Like, people have been saying since last offseason that Aaron Rodgers, it's like, oh, Aaron Rodgers to the Broncos, and it's like, if Aaron Rodgers' whole thing is he wants to win a Super Bowl now, he wants to win now, I'm like, why would you go to the Broncos? The Broncos are the Broncos are shit. Let's be honest. John Elway hasn't done a great job there.
Defense is okay there.
Well, they've got a good defense, yeah, but their offense has been shambles and has been since Peyton Manning retired.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're Aaron Rodgers, why would you go there? If you think you don't have enough weapons in Green Bay, you think it's going to improve if you go to Denver? I just wish he would. He's, to me, he is like, I don't want to say this, but I'm going to anyway. He's the fucking Donald Trump of football. I wish you would just shut the fuck up and go away. That's what I really would like to see happen here.
He's smarter than Donald Trump. I mean,
but you know what I mean, though. It's like, enough already. All right, either play or don't. I don't give a fuck anymore. Just shut up. That's what I'm asking. You know,
what's worse? The Aaron Rodgers stuff it's been going on for a long time, and it's reached the point of being annoying.
Yeah,
but like, where are we stand with the Kyler Murray situation where he's he's
Kyler. Find a new agent, please.
Yeah, just that was a really bad move.
Like what? Like it was a weird, like, passive aggressive statement to the Cardinals, basically saying, like, I'm committed to winning. Here's my resume, which isn't all that impressive, but here's my resume. And
I'm committed to winning. I'm committed to winning, and I love this team. But also, go fuck yourself if you don't bend to my exact demands.
Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like it's just, I worry that things like this happen just give me nightmares for what will happen when Justin Fields turn out to be any good at all in the next couple of years, that he will pull this bullshit and, tear down his social media to the studs and basically say, like, my agent put out this, photoshopped image of me with some text. It's all mean and angry and confrontational. And I hate this social media bullshit back and forth between the team and quarterbacks, all because they want to get fucking paid. And it's just like, God damn, why do we even have contracts anymore? Just pay everyone everything they want all the time.
Hey, just pay everyone in Jizzcoin.
That's the ticket. They need to. They'll start paying the players in like NFTs and various cyber currency. And
congratulations, Kyler. Your salary is now a JPEG of a bored monkey smoking a cigar.
Write that down for the GTOV too while we're at it.
I think there's
Kyler Murray's NFT of a bored monkey smoking a cigar.
Like, I have no qualms with agents working out things with teams to get better contracts for their players, of course, and I don't at all fault any of these players for going after more money at any time. Their careers are very short typically, and they got to get it while they can get it. And I'm all for that, but using Twitter and the pressure of social media and Instagram stuff to kind of like play the crowd. I mean, it's nothing new. They've been doing it in newspapers and bullshit for years, but if there's just something so tacky about it on social media compared to, other old mediums, that just makes me cringe.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't you have simply just put out a small statement that, like, not even publicized, just send it to the fucking team. Like, why you pitching your argument at me? Because it makes the Arizona Cardinals look like shit. And I don't know. Maybe they deserve it. Maybe they don't. It's just, it makes my head hurt.
I'm with you. I just don't. I mean, I get it, I guess, because with social media being what it is now, he can kind of, tailor the argument to where he wants it to go. But like, look, this is what I said. You can see it right here. They're the ones that aren't playing ball. It becomes this whole thing where you just I'm with you. I don't like it, but I understand it. I mean, it's a bargaining ploy for sure. But maybe
the question is, though, was it even effective? Because if the whole
that's
goal,
the question. Yeah,
if the whole goal was to, it's like, we're going to put public pressure on the team by having Kyler come out here, and this is going to be his stance. But the response I seem to have seen from it has not been like, yeah, Kyler, get what you're paid. It's been like, that was a pretty dumb fucking statement.
Right.
Like, get a new agent.
It's been more like go fuck yourself than it has been. Yeah, go Kyler. It's like Andy said though. It's a weird place to be, especially if you're a fan, because no one wants to hear about the labor pains. They just want to see the baby, basically. You don't want to see how the sausage is made, and I don't really care. Pay them whatever if you can afford it. I'm all for every athlete making every dollar they can get. By all means, get as much as you can get, because believe me, when they're done with you, that'll be that. You'll be done, and that'll be it. They'll kick you to the curb and they'll forget you even existed. So yeah, get paid while you can, but I don't know. I think there are better negotiating tactics than what he did there. And it's
pretty typical.
It's
also kind of weird that to kind of frame that against what's happening with baseball ownership and the players, to where the players, and I don't know how much you really even want to talk about this. The same shit every week, but
shooting themselves in the dick.
Yeah, just owners basically are, if they're not budging, players aren't budging, and I don't know. How many of these fucking lockouts have we gone through in our lives now, where it's just everyone's just sitting there tapping their foot, like, okay, I don't give a shit about either side. Just get me the fucking product in the field, please. Like, I want my sports escape to return. And you guys haggling this shit out because the owners are a bunch of greedy old white assholes, and the players are, I mean, I think most people side with the players on this anyway, but it's like, come on, man, goddamn, just get this shit over with. Get over yourselves, please.
Yeah, I agree. You know what, though? I will say this, that since Major League Baseball has fallen to the side, I started watching a little bit of college baseball. I thought, well, this is wonderful. I saw an inning, that a first inning, not just a full first inning, took less than 5 minutes the other day. And I saw like guys hitting balls to the opposite field, and runs being scored via ways other than the home run, and pitchers like getting the ball back and pitching again right away, and batters not stepping out of the box every pitch. And it was awesome. I mean, now granted, the quality of play isn't as high as it is in the major leagues, but it was baseball the way it's meant to be played, which is a lot fucking faster than the way the MLB teams are playing it these days. So it was really cool to watch.
Well, but I'm assuming they're all playing with aluminum bats, though.
Yeah, that's the one drawback. You can't. How come we can't invent an aluminum bat that sounds like a wood bat when you hit it? Like, make a graphite bat or something. It's got a little more,
I fail to understand why wooden bats just outlaw metallic bats. The only thing metallic bats should be used for is for beating the shit out of people. That's it. Like at the scene at the end of Casino when Joe Pesci's in the cornfield getting the shit out of him with baseball. That's when you use an aluminum bat.
Yeah,
wouldn't
you don't want it to break. I mean, God forbid it breaks in the middle of beating a dude to death. Yeah,
exactly. You need it to last a good 5 minutes while you just sock the shit out of somebody and throw them in a dirt hole. The wooden baseball bat, though, when a baseball bat that is made out of whatever special magical wood hits a baseball, it is one of the best sounds in the world.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
It is unfortunate when you get, somebody sends you a clip of a college baseball highlight or something, and you hear that awful ding sound. It just takes something out of it that just needs to be outlawed.
I completely agree with that. I mean, like I said, the game itself, it's much faster paced. You can't, with a college team, you've got these guys for and if they're really good, you've only got them for maybe a year or two before they decide to go pro and play in the minors. You don't have the time to sit down and figure out launch angles and all the other bullshit that the stat nerds want to do. You just got to let them play in college. And that's what's cool about it. They haven't been ruined yet by all the nonsense. I don't think I saw a single shift in a single game that I watched in this little tournament they had over the weekend down in Houston. And that's another thing too. Major League Baseball, we're going to outlaw the shift. Fuck that. Don't do that. Make these guys know how to hit. That's the answer here. I don't like that they're outlawing the shift. I don't like that at all. I think the shift is ruining the game, enough already. Play the game the way it's supposed to be played. You don't have to worry about a shift.
If you just leave it alone. I mean, for the most part with sports, like the over adjustment of rules, it exhausts everyone, fans and players and coaches alike.
Yep.
Typically, though, I mean, there are some things that you just flat out need to adjust. But for the most part, with a thing like the shift, you just sort of, if you just leave it alone, eventually there'll be a player or maybe a very creative coach that will, a combination of the two, where they can actually circumvent a lot of these strategic crap regarding the shift.
Yep.
And break it entirely, and then it gets phased into being just like a trivia answer. Like it's kind of like the what's it called, the quarterback, the running back when they play quarterback,
the Wildcat.
It's kind of like Wildcat formation,
Yeah.
where it's still, people still use Wildcat, but it's more of like okay, I don't know why you're doing that, but we've already been down that road.
Because everybody knows you're going to run. No one thinks you're going to pass out of that formation. It was funny to me. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but the Wildcat was cool for about 2 weeks, and then everybody figured it out, and it was like just a waste of time after that. Yeah.
Well, there was a Boston pitcher too that threw that weird gyro ball or whatever. Like that was dominant for like a month. And
that was what's his name? Dice K, right? Was that him?
I think Dice K. Yeah, I can't remember his full name, but that was one of those things where like, oh shit, he's reinvented how to pitch. And then after a few weeks, hitters were like, I'm just going to hit the fuck out of it.
Yep.
and that was that. The shift is obviously a lot more. You can't really compare it to just like a pitch or something. But if you just leave it alone long enough, people will find a way to get around it because people want to win these games and break that shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've seen there are already players out there that, like, when the shift is on, they'll just bunt down the third baseline, and then what are you going to do? You could like walk to first at that point because there's no one there to field the ball, or they'll just kind of like hit a weak grounder to that side and get a double. Not everybody's doing it, but there are players that are doing that now already.
Right, but from the perspective of MLB, they want to nip it in the bud now because it's boring. They want to. They're trying to make the game a little bit more exciting, but that's whatever. Do we put Mike to sleep? We're talking about
baseball? No, I'm here. The thing about baseball though is that like the baseball that I really get into now, the baseball that I like is it died in 2015. It's never coming back. So
I agree. The 15 Royals, right?
15 Royals, like legit, straight up. I love small ball. It started with me researching the dead ball era just for fun.
Wahoo Sam Crawford, baby.
And I was like, this is really interesting. And it was just like the strategic aspect of baseball really, really jived with me. And I loved it. And then shortly thereafter, the Royals actually won a World Series doing it, like in the modern era, which blew me away. But the problem, again, with all of it is that, it's never going to come back. Like the game has evolved, not for the better, I don't think. And I mean, my complaints about baseball are the same thing that you guys have been going on. It's too boring. There's just no fucking. It's too analytical. It's too boring. Games go on forever. They really do need to implement the shot clock. Sorry, not the shot clock, the pitch clock. Because again, this might seem weird for someone who just said, "Oh, he loves the dead ball era." Just super traditional. Why would you want to clock in baseball? But these motherfuckers have gotten to the point where there's no option. Like you've ruined it. Like you need to have a clock for the sake of the game.
If you don't, I'll just say this: if you don't like the idea of a pitch clock, go to a triple or a minor league game anywhere where they have one, and you'll change your mind quick. Because I mean, I'm with Mike. I mean, I was always like a baseball traditionalist. I didn't want the DH. I'd rather have it gone completely. But so a pitch clock was a pretty foreign idea to me. And then I saw it in action, and I went, "Oh my god, this thing is wonderful! It's just wonderful." It just it speeds up the entire pace of the game, which is a huge help to just what I mean. It's great.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it has become something that has just sort of become necessary, I guess.
Well, you were talking about small ball and all that, and I'm not as into it as you are, but I what I liked about home runs back in the day was because they happened when you didn't expect them, or it wasn't like that's all anybody was trying to do. So like you'd get a guy like I don't know, like the Indians, Jim Thome when they were good, he would come up. he was just as likely to hit like a single as he was a home run. So when he hit one, it was like, wow, this is cool. Where today it's like, well, that's what they expect him to do. He's either going to strike out, walk, or hit a home run. Well, you know what? I'm not interested in that. So I prefer like the 80s baseball, which goes back a ways now, but they would play like, 10 to 8 games that take 2 hours and 20 minutes. So I don't know what the hell they were doing back then, but they need to start doing it again, I guess is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
But I'm just over the whole. I'm with Andy. If you put wooden bats in the hands of college baseball, I'd never watch Major League Baseball again. I just wouldn't. What would be the point? But that ping is just, yeah,
Hard pass.
kind of ruins the whole experience. But other than that, it's not bad.
Yeah, I'm going through a weird transitional period too. With ever since the Cubs won the World Series, I've been conflicted about my relationship with them. Not because I'm like selling
Hey,
on them.
at least they didn't rape anyone, man.
I was gonna say that. Tell me they didn't do like black.
No.
Dark
But I mean, even that team with what's the fucking name of that closer? The asshole closer for the Yankees now.
Chapman.
Aroldis Chapman. That guy
Right.
was an asshole,
Yeah.
and just I don't know. The charm and the magic has kind of left the organization, and they're becoming very, very, very corporate. And I don't know. It's hard when the journey kind of ends. Like
Yeah, I imagine.
like if the Browns won the Super Bowl, it'd be super weird because you saw the thing through, and after
Yeah.
that, it's like now what?
Yeah,
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Right. Yeah, I would like to know what that's like, but I think I agree. I don't think that you would ever care quite as much again after that. You'd just be kind of like, what? Okay, so we do it again, which would be cool. I mean, I'd love to see the Browns reel off like 5 in a row, but that's never going to happen. But after that first one, it can't ever be the same again. I would
No.
think,
Yeah, it's all second fiddle when you've waited that long.
Yeah.
I think that generally when that happens, something like that for teams that historically struggle, it's not that it's like a bad thing, but it's also like how do we really it's never going to feel the same. And do we are we still the level of losers, or what is it now? We want a title.
Well, I think to a far lesser extent, you're kind of suffering from. I won't say that because that's not really a proper comparison. But like we saw this happen with the Red Sox, where they were just this starstruck, and then they started winning. And the first one, everybody, I don't think anybody was against them winning the first one in 2004.
No, that was a hell of a thing when they did that.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Mhm.
And then after that, and thank God the Cubs haven't gotten to this point. But after that, now everybody fucking hates them because they're the Red Sox and they're good and they're this monolithic thing on the hill now, right next to the Yankees and their monolithic thing on the hill. And it's just not the same because they're not the Red Sox anymore. They're like the corporate Red Sox. We're the Red Sox that will spend money and play the Yankees in games that take 7 hours and fuck you if you don't like it. And it's a whole different animal now. So I could see where, to a lesser extent, the same thing with the Cubs. They're not the Cubs that we all grew up with anymore. They're different now, which is not good or bad. It just is what it is.
Yeah, it's a unique thing that might be unique to baseball too, because of Super Bowls. I don't know. I'd have to think about it more and give it more thought because I mean, like, I never felt that way about the Blackhawks when they were competing every year. If anything, it made those journeys far more interesting when they would, make a deep dive into the playoffs. You expect them to go far, but with some of those magical teams where they're kind of like a shot in the dark, and there's a lot of history behind it, you almost need to, I don't know, you almost need to redefine your fandom a little.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling now.
With the Blackhawks, though, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think it's harder to do in hockey in general. You've got teams like the Rangers who finally won in '94. The Caps finally got over the hump. The Blues finally got over the hump. But even like teams that like the Blackhawks, the first one was great. It wasn't like it was just an easy. They didn't just waltz in and take the next two and make it look easy.
Sure,
because it's hockey, and you can have the best team. You can be the freaking '80s Oilers and still lose on a weird bounce.
Well, like look at like the Rangers when they won it in '94.
Yeah,
that was their. How long had it been at that point?
40 some years. 40.
Yeah.
I don't know exact 40 some years. I think. Yeah.
And I mean, same thing with like if the Leafs. When was the last time? 60s.
67.
Yeah.
67.
So
Yeah.
the Leafs, should they win, I mean, Leafs. But I mean, should they win?
Go fuck yourself.
Sorry, I'm just saying, like, but that's what I mean, though. That's what I mean, though, because right now the Leafs are in this stage where they're perpetuating their own mythos of failure.
Yeah.
But it will one day end, unless we all destroy ourselves in some nuclear holocaust. They will win a title someday again, and when that happens, it'll be this giant party. But then after that, it's like, I imagine because they're in a big market and they're like there's a whole city in country just boiling to cheer for a cup-winning Leafs team. But after you kind of pop that balloon, is the magic gone? And everyone's like, you know what? Fuck the Leafs. Fuck them. I don't want to see them win another cup.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I don't think so. Like I said, I think with hockey, it's so much harder to do. And you get a team like I think you'll see a little bit of like the Cubs thing happen when the Leafs finally get the cup, where it won't be quite as special. And the Chaos Blast corrected me. It was 54 years for the Rangers between 1940 and 1994. I should know that. I got the freaking banner hanging right behind me. But I think that I shouldn't say because I think the Leafs will eventually break through in your lifetime, Mike. Then again, I thought that about the Browns back in the 80s, and well, here I am.
Well, that's not really fair. The Browns took a giant chunk of time off to gut their fandom and their franchise and then start over with nothing. So, it's totally unique situation.
Kind of like between 88 and 91. Yeah. So same thing, basically. No, it's I think when you've got a team like a long suffering team like the Leafs or the Browns or the Cubs, that first one's going to be the one. I think an Eagles fan would be a perfect person to ask about this because they've never won shit. They rose up one year, won a Super Bowl, and that's that. So I don't know. How do you think they feel? I don't know.
They built a statue. They built a weird statue. Didn't I send this to you guys? The weird. It's a Nick Foles statue outside of Lincoln.
Oh my God! Really?
It's fucking weird looking. Yeah,
that's right. There was a Nick Foles statue, right?
It's him. It's a statue about him. It's him and what's his name? The coach that got fired.
Doug Peterson.
Him and Doug Peterson talking to one another about the Philly special play, and the statue is sponsored by Bud Light. And because Nick Foles said, "Do you want Philly?" And because they're talking about the Philly special play. And Peterson, yeah, let's do Philly or whatever. But they changed the quote, I believe, to say, "Do you want Philly, Philly?" Because Dilly Dilly was the Bud Light slogan or whatever.
So go fuck yourself.
So it is simultaneously a bizarre yet kind of. I mean, I'm all for statues and stuff. That's cool, but it's a sponsored statue with the quote. I believe they altered the fucking quote.
The quote was altered for the fucking
for Bud Light. I don't know. It's fine.
Oh, Gary's a Lions fan, so I would imagine same. Well, with the Lions it would be kind of similar to the Browns, I would think. where it's just
true. The Lions title would be. I don't know. I feel like the Lions title would mean a lot. It would be it would be very Cubs-like because again, they're just another franchise where generations have been born and died that have never seen them win fuck all, and a lot of these fandoms are inherited fandoms where they go into it knowing that my grandparents and my parents, they're probably not going to live to see a title. I'll be lucky if I live to see a title. And just having this conversation really pisses me off because there's a lot of owners throughout the league that know exactly that feeling with their fans, and they don't give a fucking shit. They don't give a good goddamn. There's just to know that you own a franchise, a major sports franchise, knowing the way you're running it will never likely result in the Super Bowl for these fans who give you thousands of dollars every year, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, their own fucking money. Yep. And you just don't give a fuck about a championship. All you care about is, hey, graph looks good. Line's going in the right direction. Fuck you guys if we win or lose.
All I'll say about this is, I kind of lucked into something my first year as a Bucks fan. They won the Super Bowl. That was fun. I got to see the Raptors win an NBA championship, which I don't want to say it felt more real because I feel like, at the end of the day, sports fandom, it is what it is. You root for who you like, and the whole real fan thing is kind of bullshit. but at the same time, the Raptors are a team that I've been following almost since they were formed. And so to see that team win was very special. But to be perfectly honest, the one that's really going to mean a lot is the Maple Leafs.
Sure.
And I don't really know how the I don't really know how I'm going to react if I ever do see a Toronto Maple Leafs Stanley Cup. Like, I legitimately don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know how I'm going to deal with it. I don't know how I'm going to like I've always kind of said, like, given how, I guess, like, historic that legacy of failure is, that, like, if I do get to see a Maple Leaf Stanley Cup, like, I've said this before, like, I'm just going to be happy. I'm going to take it. I'm never going to bitch about, like, anything again. At the same time, there is part of me that is kind of going, like, is that really going to be how I react?
Well,
I think you'll be stunned.
Yeah, I mean, what's frustrating to me is that you answer me this. Will either the Nashville Predators or Columbus Blue Jackets win a cup before the Toronto Maple Leafs?
No. Nashville, maybe. Columbus, no way.
See, but that's the Mike's silence says it all. Here's
the thing. No. See, Andy's right, because one of the most frustrating things that I've had to deal with as a Leafs fan recently, because the futility has always been there, but the recent thing has been seeing teams like the Blues and like the Capitals win the cup, because these are teams that have had their own struggles, not at the same level as the Leafs slow. The Capitals and the Blues, yes, they had a lot of heartbreak, they had a lot of failure, but it hadn't been as long as the Leafs. It hadn't been as persistent as the Leafs. And so as a Leafs fan, I've had to watch the Capitals win a Stanley Cup, I had to watch the Blues win the Stanley Cup, and you think, like, oh, this is kind of bullshit. Like, why not us?
The Kings.
And it's just one of these things where it's like, Andy asks, will the Blue Jackets or Predators ever win a Stanley Cup before the Maple Leafs win another one? And I gotta say, like, it feels likely. Like, it feels like for better or worse, that's going to happen. And I don't like it. But it just kind of feels like eventually they'll get those teams will get someone, in a position of power. They're going to know what they're doing, and they'll go on a run where maybe they manage to win a cup or two. But, like, the Maple Leafs will always just kind of be shooting themselves in the dick, because that's what this team does.
I think that the Columbus Blue Jackets, you've seen them as good as they're ever going to be. Like when they beat Tampa Bay last year, the year before, 2 years ago. Well, no, that was back before COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's as good as it's ever going to get for them, because I just don't see them ever, with their financial situation being what it is, I don't see them ever having the ability to have the collection of talent necessary to win a Stanley Cup there at the same time. I think if you could find a way to, because, you saw, who are some of the guys that left that I can't think of their names now, but they were good for the Jackets. As soon as the contract is up, boom, they're off to New York. They're off to wherever, and that's why but with the Predators, I could see it happening. I think they could actually pull off getting the right roster at the right time and going all the way with it. I don't think the Jackets are ever going to be able to mix that up just right, where they get it exactly right, where they can do it. And but then again, hockey's a weird sport.
That's what I mean. Like, people have said the same thing about the Leafs, though, where they've said, I don't think they're ever going to get, like, the Leafs will go and get, like, stooped in the playoffs, and it's like, what? They're just never going to get the right guys together.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah. I guess I just, with the Jackets, it's more like a financial thing. not like just a bad luck, like they're just fucking cursed like the Leafs are. It's just so much as like I don't think they could keep a team together long enough to get good enough to get there. Whereas the Leafs could certainly, they've tried everything pretty much, haven't they, Mike? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, like people have tried to break down what the problems are with the Leafs, why they can't seem to get together, and I mean, ultimately, it's all just excuse making. Because people have tried to say, oh, you have a lot of really talented hockey players who grew up as Leafs fans, but they don't want to play. They don't want to play for the Leafs because like the media is too much or the pressure's too much. And it's like that's kind of bullshit. Because I saw this team, under Pat Quinn and then Ken Dryden later, in the 90s, early 2000s, put together a perennial cup contender, and they always managed to put together a team that on paper should have competed for a cup, and in some years they did. They made it to 2 Eastern Conference Finals during that run, but for whatever reason, the chips just didn't fall where they should have. They ran up against some bad officiating and Gretzky favoritism in '93. They ran up against a red hot Canucks team in '94. 98, they had to deal with a Sabres team that was firing on all cylinders. 2004, they ran up, they came up against a Carolina Hurricanes team that, frankly, they were better than, but they just choked away in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then that window closed, and they sucked for a long time before they got their shit together again. But even now, with a talented team, they are choking in the playoffs. And so, I mean, it's not a matter of, oh, the media's mean, they don't want people to, people who grew up playing for the Leafs don't want to deal with the media. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got nothing to do with good Ontario boys or any of that shit. Like, this team has proven that when you get that you get when you get smart hockey people involved, like Pat Quinn, like Ken Dryden, hell, I'll even say current management. Not, you've got the current management team. They know hockey. And they have put together a team that on paper is very good. And so this bullshit about, oh, Toronto can't land good players because of the media or whatever, that's bullshit. This team has consistently proven that when they hire smart hockey people, they can get good players. The problem has always and will always be that there just really isn't an answer, and that's frustrating because
like you said, like it's not, I'm sure that there's fans from Detroit and other franchises like the Lions rather, where it's just like where you're at, where you sit there and you think, and after every playoff loss, where it's like, what happened here? And eventually, after a while, you go, I don't know. It's just my franchise sucks. I just don't know what else to do.
Well, that is ultimately the problem. That's ultimately the problem and why I said that everything about, people trying to figure out, oh, this or that is the reason why the Leafs can't do it. It's all bullshit. The team's proven that when they try, when they actually get serious about it, they can attract good players. They can attract talent. They can put together good teams that can compete for a Stanley Cup on paper. But it's just that when push comes to shove, for whatever reason, it always goes wrong in the playoffs. It always does. And the frustrating thing is that there is no answer. There is no thing where you can say, oh, if they fix this or they do that. It's just the team snake bitten. Doesn't matter. You move out one group of, you move out one management team, you bring in another management team that's just as hockey smart, just as competent. They can put together another, great team. Doesn't matter. That team's going to fucking suck too, because that's just where we're at. And I don't know. The good thing to take from it, I guess, the silver lining to take from it is to, well, what we started this conversation with, to to circle back to Andy's Cubs, which is to say that, you know, it will end eventually. Maybe it'll take another century or so, but it will end. And that is the great thing about all of this, which is to say that as frustrating as it is to not have an easy answer for why this thing keeps happening to these teams, the upside is that the lack of a concrete answer means that eventually the script will flip.
No, well, I'm a Browns fan. It never flips. It's never going to end.
Well, no, because the script will flip for them too. Like,
No, it won't.
like eventually it will. And so that's sort of yeah.
I was going to go back. Chaos Blast brought up that he corrected us again. It was 99 for Buffalo and 2002 for Carolina, Mike.
Oh,
that reminded me that I was talking about the Jackets, but I thought about it. I'm like, the fucking Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
So at that point, you got to go, I think anything's possible. I don't know.
Well, the Carolina Hurricanes Stanley Cup was in itself odd because they won it in a year, because like if Dwayne Rolison for the Edmonton Oilers doesn't get injured in game 1 of that series,
right.
Because the Edmonton Oilers lost both their starter and backup goalie in that finals and still pushed it to 7 games. If Dwayne Rolison, who was on fire that playoffs, if he stays healthy in the Stanley Cup Finals for the Oilers win that series. But again, that comes back to what I was saying, where it is just, you know, it's luck. You know, eventually luck's gonna pan out for the Leafs, where, you know, maybe they end up going against the team that loses you know, their top 2 goalies, and you know, and they win it that way. You know, or it doesn't necessarily have to be that. But my point is that eventually, you know, the Providence smiles upon you, and it might take a while, but it happens.
When they go up against a team that loses both of its goalies, I'm like, that was us against the Chiefs in the playoffs 2 years ago. You know, if we can hurt Patrick Mahomes somehow and get him the fuck out of there, we got a shot at this.
Sure. I mean, that shit counts too. You know, people want to say, you know, X negated Y because of these circumstances. Like, well, you know, he got fucking hurt, so too bad. You know,
yeah.
You know, we can't control that. It's not like you game plan for it. I mean, you can try to hurt other guys, and that would be certainly disgusting. You know, it would suck. I mean, imagine if like Vontaze Burfict was playing for the Bengals still in the Super Bowl against the Rams, and then basically one of the coaches took him aside and said, "Listen, I want you to just fucking kill Matt Stafford." And after play is over, he takes his helmet off and cracks Matt Stafford in the face with his helmet and puts him in the hospital in a coma for a year, and the Bengals win the title. Then yeah, that'd be fucked up, because it's like, yeah, you basically just committed assault to get the one of the best players in the field out of the game. But if a guy gets hurt, just tears his ACL or something, or gets hurt and misses the game, that happens. That's the sports. You know?
Well, going back to one of my teams that did win, when the Raptors won the NBA championship, you had people who were saying it's like, oh, you know, they only won it because the Warriors were so injured. And it's like, well, you know, if that's the game we're gonna play, then maybe we should revoke one of those Warriors titles against the Cavs.
Right.
Because, you know, there was, it's fun to bash on LeBron James, but one of those Warriors-Cavs finals that the Warriors won, it was because the Cavs were pretty much down to LeBron James and some guys from the Y.
Right. Yeah. It was LeBron and 4 dudes you've never fucking heard of.
Yeah, because like the Cavs were that decimated by injury. So you know, the Warriors playing that card, it's like, no. But secondly, you know, on a more broader sports, you know, theoretical, philosophical thing, you know, you can only play who you get put in front of.
Yep.
And like Andy said, sometimes injury just happens. Sometimes injuries just happen. And and you know, as much as I can say, oh, if Dwayne Rolison stays healthy, the Hurricanes don't win that cup, the fact of the matter is that Dwayne Rolison didn't stay healthy. Yep. And the fact of the matter is that the Carolina Hurricanes were in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Edmonton Oilers, and the Carolina Hurricanes managed to beat the team that was put in front of them, and that's ultimately all that you can do. So, you know.
Oh, I was just going to say too that going back to what we were talking about at the top, what Andy talked about the Blackhawks, and see, I think all this discussion about hockey is why I think it's just different than say if you won a Super Bowl or a World Series and NBA champion, because it's just so much fucking hard. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think it's so much harder to do in hockey. Every series you play is 7 games, right? And and you've got to play what, 4 to get there. So you're talking like you could potentially 28 fucking games. You know, that's so to me, that's why the Blackhawks, every time they won, you're like, yeah, this is still fucking great because it's hard to do. It just is. I mean, I remember watching those teams going, God damn, I can't believe they're doing this again. You know, and it's
even harder. It's even harder now because they have a much more serious logo for the Stanley Cup final.
I saw that. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate that shit. I saw that. What a stuffy, pretentious piece of garbage.
When it looks like I put it together, it's not very good. I get what they're trying to go for here, but it's like, no. But anyway,
yeah,
I got.
You know what?
I think I do.
I don't particularly care.
I don't like that. That looks like something that I'd throw together for a SIG on the boards. I'm sorry.
I don't particularly care for it. I don't particularly care who gets mad at me being, kind of rose-tinted goggles. Bring back the one from the fucking 90s. That was a Stanley Cup Finals logo.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. Do like the Super Bowl used to do. Just like make it different every year. Who gives a fuck, you know?
Well, the Super Bowl ruined that. They don't do that anymore.
Fun is for losers. We can't have fun around here.
I don't know, that 89 to 94. That's a nice patch there. That's a nice logo, and 95 to 99 is good. 2000 to 2004 is pretty good, and then it kind of goes off the rails a little bit. But yeah, so we still got. When did the playoffs start? Like what? End of
April, something like that.
Shit, we got a ways to go yet, then, don't we?
So I think late March is the end of the regular season, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
I finally saw the Seattle Kraken live and in person. Well, not in person, but on TV the other night.
Oh yeah,
because I've got the ESPN Plus thing and I never ever use it. But yeah, they were playing. Who were they playing? Boston. No, it wasn't Boston. Anyway, I finally saw their uniforms like in action, and they're okay. I mean, I'm not crazy about them, but they look pretty good, I thought. So
yeah, they look good on uniform wise. The team kind of sucks, but they really suck. But expansion teams good expansion.
We can't all be the Vegas Golden Knights, where
well, they can just go fuck themselves.
This is the first mention of the Vegas Golden Knights in base 2022 history, by the way. So
it's that long to get here, huh?
The first. Everything that involves the first anything for the Vegas Golden Knights has to be mentioned because it's so important.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised it took us all the way till March.
What galaxy-brained social media fucking manager came up with that?
I don't know. I just remember during their cup run, it was just like every other fucking thing. Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, fuck them.
That's a good all-around stance on the Knights. I'm sure I'm fine with that. Just fuck.
Legitimately, I know we've said it before, but they still, you know what? No, Vegas fans still don't know the NHL experience. They still don't.
Oh no.
They still have not experienced the true National Hockey League fan experience.
No,
it's a lot of pain and suffering, and they have not. They don't understand. They don't get it. They never.
Right.
They will eventually. They will eventually, and I'll be there to laugh.
All right. We got anything else, fellas? Or should we wrap it up here?
That's a good stopping point. Hopefully Zach comes back and regales us with tales of Florida and Disney. I'm looking forward to getting.
Yeah. He's already found a pretty good vending machine. He's only been there a couple days, so this could get. I hope he's keeping notes, like he said he was going to, of people that he sees.
Indeed.
So, all right, we're going to call it a night, folks. Wait, I don't want to end the broadcast just yet. I don't hit the wrong button there. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. You'll find your links to vote in the glorious tournament of victory there. You can also subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Stitcher, and the YouTubes, and wherever fine Podcasting is sold. We will be back next week with results from round 2 of the GTOV and all the other good stuff. See you around.
Later.
Later.